While we've been here in Newport, we've noticed that one issue we keep having is that our water pressure seems to get very low, then very high, then the pump runs for a while, and nothing actually seems to happen. If we actually look at the pump itself, we see that very little water's coming out most of the time. So we think that this pump has been here for a long time. There's probably just needs to be replaced. Since we're in Newport and in Rhode Island in general, we decided that we're going to do a few projects just to improve the boat while we're here before we head back south. So today we are going to be looking at installing the SureFlow Aqua King 2 replacement pump. So yeah, I'm going to start taking off the old one, put on this one, and hopefully things get better. I'm putting the this is the positive from the boat. This is the positive to the pump. So I'm putting these two together so that I can test that this whole thing works. Just using some electrical tape to hold them in place for now. And I messed it up. Let me try that again. Oh no! Oh no, it's all gone wrong. Putting these two together for now. This is not the final result, but just to test that the pump works as expected. And we'll do the same thing for the negative side. Okay, so now we're going to test. We've got the electrical hooked up, so we're going to turn on the new pump. This is the new pump. This is the old pump, which shouldn't do anything now, but this is the new pump here. We should see from this outlet that water should come out when we turn on the pump. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up now. After successfully installing the water pump, we jumped onto shore before our pride tricked us into starting another project. Newport has these incredibly preserved mansions that you can tour, and just as magnificent as those mansions are the surrounding gardens. While there are many of these palatial mansions you can visit, we decided our legs could only manage one today, and that was the Marble House, built as a summer home for the Vanderbilt family. The main mansion is fully made of marble, making for some spectacular rooms. And equally amazing were the servants inside the mansion. This was mostly made of wood and showed the mini army it took to keep this place running. I feel like watching Downton Abbey kind of gave us the biggest understanding of what we were looking at in there, with like the marble for living quarters of people who live there, and then the wood and like kind of the... Actually, it looked very much like what we saw on that show, so it was really interesting to kind of walk through that piece of history and have that understanding of it. And overall, it was really beautiful. And it's a slightly muggy day, but really nice overall.
One of the most interesting pieces of this tour was a Chinese tea house in the back of the house, which is modeled after a 12th century Song Dynasty temple. Unfortunately, it was closed for the season, but the views from its exterior cliffs were gorgeous. We had an amazing time visiting this place and enjoying its views, but we were beat for the day and went back to the boat for a well-earned dinner.
We have walked our feet off here in Newport, really like 3-4 hours per day, just heading around town, seeing the sights, and enjoying the really good food that was here. And now it's time for a new adventure, so we are heading off towards Prudence Island, which should be a few hours worth of sail. Yeah, we'll pull up the mooring ball and head on out.
Our green sauce cooking, our rice is cooking here, almost ready. Another 30 minutes? 30 minutes? See you later. We're anchored off here at Prudence Island inside of Potter's Cove. And the chicken's almost done. I made like a 4-course meal on the way, which is pretty awesome. But mistimed the chicken, so we're waiting for the chicken to be done. Sail was great. I mean, it wasn't a sail we motored because the wind was somewhere between 0.5 and 1.5, so didn't really want to get the sails up. But we're here. Hopefully, better wind for the next sail. But it's so peaceful and so calm here. Can't wait to dig in for some early dinner, late lunch, and just relax in it for today, and then maybe go explore this island tomorrow.
Okay, Spandana made an awesome dish of chicken, a cilantro and jalapeno sauce, some Spanish rice, some beans, and some maduros, which are fried plantains. So super excited to tuck into this. Sunset looks beautiful. And down over here, we have a baby hiding from the wind. Enjoying your night out? You continue to hide. We're gonna sail to Bristol, so we're gonna get the jib out, turn the engine off, and it's only half an hour, but it's good practice.
We anchored up at Bristol today because there's a storm coming up soon, as I think you can hear it's brewing up for tomorrow. So we're here, we're going to provision, we are doing a load of laundry so that's out of the way. But I think once we're all done in the town, we're actually going to go back to Prudence Island and anchor up there for the actual storm because it's protected really well from the south, from the wind that's coming from the south. So, you know, it should be very interesting. This is our first storm really since our very first storm when we were in downtown Annapolis, when we discovered that things like our batteries were dying and everything. So that was a fun first storm. I feel like we know a little bit more now, not a whole lot, but a little bit more now. So tomorrow should be hopefully a relatively calm time, well prepared. We're gonna put out enough scope and get prepared and get tucked in. We're gonna get lots of food and have lots of anime to watch and just relax for the day tomorrow.
What are you doing to that bag, ma'am?
Folding it up nice and tight. It's harder on the street rather than on a table.
And while the laundry did its thing, we went in search of some good food, and of course we've somehow found ourselves at a Japanese place. The food in the restaurant were amazing, and it was definitely a place to come back to.
There is a dark alley, and in front of it, there's a sign saying there's ice cream in there. going in. Ice cream time.
And with that, we grabbed up our laundry and headed back to the boat, back to Prudence Island to wait out the storm.
On this very gloomy, rainy day, I think some of the best things to cook, maybe something warm and comforting, and one of our things we like to cook is Indian food, so I'm making some what's called tomato dal, which is tomato lentils, basically. And we have fresh lentils that I bought. Let me see. Totally did not take that out of the garbage. I have what's called tur dal. So technically when Indian dal is made, they actually use 3, sometimes even 4 different types of lentils to kind of bring a flavor together. But if you don't have the kind of space to have 4 different kinds of lentils going on, you can just use one, and that's tur dal. And so if you want to look down here, I've got, I soaked the tur dal in water for about half a day, and that plumped them up a little bit, but I'm using a pressure cooker, so if you're not using a pressure cooker at home, then you can, you need to soak them overnight. But I did, and so I only soaked them up for an hour, and I just added a bunch of onions and tomatoes and garlic and some chili powder, turmeric and rice and salt and 1 little green chili pepper. It was usually what you add, but I don't have any on the boat today, so I just added one of Dave's mom's peppers that they grow in the backyard, which is this West Indian little red terrifying looking guy. So I only added half of it. The other half is somewhere else, waiting for the next curry. And you just throw that all into a pressure cooker, cook it for, like 20 minutes, half an hour, and you've got dal, and it's done. One of the simplest things to make. Or you put it on the stove and you cook it for a little longer. But I find it to be a super simple beginner dish. And after this, we're going to make some butter chicken, or my version of a butter chicken, and then with some rice. It should be a very comfort food kind of day. All right, now we are on to the butter chicken. And the butter chicken I make in 2 pieces. One is the chicken part and one is the sauce part. The chicken part, I actually cut the chicken breast into small pieces and marinated with some salt and turmeric powder and chili powder and some cumin, dry powdered cumin, and some yogurt. I mix it all up, and after a little bit of marination, I put it in the oven for broil, and I real quick roast them so they're kind of cooked almost halfway, but they just have a little bit of a crispy outside. And I set it aside, and then I make the sauce. And for the sauce, it's pretty straightforward. It's sauteing some spices and adding some ingredients. The only issue is I have almost everything in sort of not the versions that are ideal as I used to do on our land home. So, for example, instead of fresh ginger, I have dried ginger. I am running very low on my garam masala, which means that normally I would just make some fresh ones, which means sauteing cloves and cardamom, yes. Fresh cardamom and fresh coriander seeds and fresh cinnamon sticks, but I have powdered coriander and cinnamon and fresh cloves and cardamom, so it's going to be a little mixture of everything. But the actual recipe that I'll put in the description will have everything and how much roughly I use of everything in the correct way, so I apologize if it's all a little confusing to watch, but it comes out still the same and tasty. Ta-da! I mean, it's called butter chicken. What do you think?
Delicious. Excelente. Delicioso. Awesome. Amazing. Good.